Channel 7. From Idaho's News Channel 7, this is Viewpoint.
Thanks for joining us here on Viewpoint. I'm Joe Paris. It's a new year and a year full of new possibilities, and possibility seems to only be the start of it all in Meridian, Idaho, one of the fastest growing areas in our state, a quickly expanding community that seems to add a new restaurant or business every week. Close to 130,000 people call Meridian home. And as the city writes on their info pages, Meridian is proud to host a plethora of amenities like beautiful city parks, locally owned and operated restaurants and businesses, shopping, of course, the village in Meridian, plenty of entertainment options. And yes, coming up in this half hour, we're going to talk about the newest addition to Meridian, In-N-Out. But Meridian's growth also presents challenges, practical ones that many growing areas see. And Meridian, like other areas, wrapped up their election season to end 2023, the decision from Meridian voters, 4 more years for Mayor Robert Simison. And Mayor Simison joins us here this morning as we continue our mayoral tour around the Treasure Valley. I guess as we are taping this on Thursday morning, it's a cold, snowy day. It's possible over the weekend we're going to see a major blizzard, but the city of Meridian, I'll note just to start off, good job clearing the snow this week. I mean, there could have been some dicey times.
Well, ACHD does that for us, and they get the crews out there early. We get updates from the director all the time about they're out, they're doing the work on the roads and what to expect. So we appreciate them very much.
Well, we know that's a heavy lift, too, for all the Treasure Valley areas. But anyways, we'll talk about Meridian. And for you, as being elected for a second term, when I say Meridian, what do you think of? What makes Meridian home for you?
Meridian is family, and that's really why I ran and continue to run was, Meridian, I want that to be a safe place for our families. And that's really been our identity, for a long time as the center of the Treasure Valley, but it's really where people came to raise their family. And we still, even though our demographics change, families grow up, it's still that place people want to call home, and we want to have those family values and that family atmosphere, because family isn't just about your kids, it's about your grandparents, but it's really about what you want to feel when you're there. You want to have those great parks where anyone feels like they can go and play. You want that safety, and those are important parts of what make Meridian special.
And for you, you've been involved with the city of Meridian for a long time, of course, elected now to a second term, but you're the chief of staff for Mayor Tammy DeVeard. For you, over the last, several years, how have you seen Meridian grow, from your perspective?
Well, I've seen it grow in many different ways. So 17 years I've been with the city, before working for the previous mayor, and really we were in Old City Hall. We had a couple hundred staff at the city. We now have over 600 people that work there at the city. So we've seen that growth and evolution of the city in the people, the complexity of the issues that we have to deal with, whether it's our wastewater treatment plant or our drinking water, or our fire and police services, which continue to grow. So that's really been kind of the interesting part, is just watching the city operations grow and evolve as we see our partners do the same in our area. Roads get improved, new businesses come to town, existing businesses expand. That's been the truly amazing part of watching our community for the last 17 years.
If someone were to tell you, 15, 16 years ago that, the problems that Meridian is dealing with now is having, over 200,000 people, having so much attention on the community, what would your impression have been?
Well, we're not at 200,000 people today, so but if they would have said that, I'd said, wow, we would have grown a lot faster than we expected. We have expected to grow. We are the center of the Treasure Valley. People have been turning their farms into selling them, whether they want to farm or just would like to say, here you go to somebody else to do something else with the land. That has been what has been occurring in Meridian long before I became part of the city. You go back to where they were in the 90s to where they came on when I started with the city in 2007. It had already changed a tremendous amount. But I think that we somewhat expected, because we had a comprehensive plan. We were growing towards our plan. We updated our comprehensive plan just to continue to grow towards that. But we're trying to do it responsibly in the way that we can. And that's been really trying to direct growth, not only for the development community, but also for our partners who are providing the services, the roads, the library, others.
Here for you in your early weeks of the second term, but looking back to the first 4 years as mayor of Meridian, what sticks out to you?
Well, I think first and foremost is our investment in public safety really sticks out. That was a huge time for growth within the city. When I first came on, we opened our first fire station, Station 6, within my first month and a half of being on the job. That was already in plan. But since then, we've opened 2 more within the last 6 months. So I've seen 3 new fire stations come on board in the last 4 years. We've added SROs into our elementary schools. That was a huge addition for our community to see that. We built a new police precinct. We've also invested in training for those 2 people as we continue to work on our public safety training center that came on board. So public safety has been a huge component of what we've seen, but we've also seen great investment in our parks with Discovery Park that's been added. It just came on board with phase 2. Phase 1 was completed right about the time I took office as well. So we've seen some of those quality of life improvements, those safety improvements, and then there's the things that people never see, the underground efforts or the water quality treatment efforts that we've done. We've advanced some water quality treatment for our wells to get rid of some of the brown water calls that were some of our biggest complaints from the community, and those were some of the priorities that we've really been pushing from a city perspective, those things that we can do that are ours. On top of that, you look at what we've seen accomplished in transportation. You know, the efforts that we've done to get the Linda Road overpass moving forward, where the city put in $2.5 million to help with the design. And we just received money from the state through a grant to help with that construction. ACHD and ITD have been great community partners to help move that project forward. And that one we're going to see in the next several years. But you look at the work that was done to get Chinden finally accomplished through the development community. They helped make those 2 lanes in each direction on Chinden out to Highway 16. That's a huge improvement for our community. Eagle Road had that 3rd lane added recently, headed southbound, again, done by development. And then what we're seeing undertake right now with Highway 16 being built, we're really seeing the major state roads improve, but ACHD has also been busy in Meridian, helping with a lot of stuff in South Meridian. You know, they completed Eagle Road going south, got an extra mile there. Locust Grove, finally from Mountain View down to Victory, that's a huge addition. The amount of time it saves people trying to travel north and get into Mountain View, long overdue, but much appreciated, as well as other things in key areas like the section between Cherry and Ustick, improving that section of Meridian Road, getting people to our park easier. There's a lot of stuff that happens at those parks. So it's been a busy 4 years in improvements that we've seen, and that's just on the government side of things.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, on the non-government side of things, I mean, how have you seen Meridian grow over the last several years? I know that early in your term, it was really marked by the sudden surprise of COVID, and I asked Mayor McLean in Boise a similar question. When that just gets put on your plate, weeks or a month into your term, I guess how quickly did that kind of throw a wrench in what you wanted to do in your first term?
Well, I think it definitely switched our attention away. Transportation was when I came in. It's like, we're really going to stay focused on transportation. But we really had to get focused on some other things, to your point. Internally, one of the things I started right after I got elected, I said, we need to come up with a remote work policy because we didn't have one for the city. Well, guess what? COVID exacerbated that, how quickly we had to get something in place. And we still have the same policy today because I want to make sure we had a policy that we weren't just putting into place for COVID, that is something that we felt was doable for our community, that would still allow the business operations to occur so that the residents could get what they want, but also the flexibility that we thought was necessary for people going through an unprecedented time as we were trying to navigate, people being out sick, trying to be socially distanced, all those aspects. And we were able to get that put in place pretty quick. It also allowed me, I think, to grow as a mayor of the organization very quickly because I had, at that time, about 500 employees who were like, I know we know you, but who are you? Mm-hmm. How are we going to be treated during this time? And so I really had to go internal in a lot of ways into the operational side of the city just to make sure that we were meeting our expectations. And at the same time, focus on some of the external parts to the community. What could I do to help give the message that I thought was appropriate for our community at that time. And so, yeah, it definitely impacted things. But we also thrived, not Meridian thrived, Idaho thrived. So it was a very unique time where we were trying to address what we were seeing happening in the community while at the same time keeping our operations moving forward so we weren't slowing things down for what other people were trying to accomplish.
I remember going to your first press conference at Meridian City Hall when you were talking about, the initial COVID press conferences that we all remember. And it seemed to me at the time that mayors like yourself were just getting a real quick tutorial on, okay, well, here's how you deal with a disaster. Do you feel going into your second term that you have new tools and I guess unique experiences that can help build you up as a public figure and a public leader?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was all learning experience, you know, and there were plenty of them. I was lucky to be around during Snowmageddon, you know, and so I got to see a little bit of that. We were part of the team that was doing it, but I wasn't the one making the decisions about here's how we go, here's what we deploy. You know, COVID definitely made that the place where, yeah, what are the decisions that you need to make? You know, what is that messaging that is important for the community here or your employees to hear? And how are you going to move forward? And I think that, you know, having that experience now in my tool belt, if something were to come along, we hope we will be able to move forward in a way that still meets the needs of the community and the expectations of the community, because that's what's really about. You know, when you're a leader of a community, you are there to be the public face to help move things forward, but they have to be supportive of you and what you're trying to accomplish. You just can't go and say, we're going left if everyone wants to go right. You may be able to move everyone a little direction one way, but ultimately it's the community's wishes that you're trying to help make sure happen.
Now that you're in your second term and you're looking forward, is there anything that you wanted to get to in your first 4 years that you just didn't get to, and now we say, okay, another 4 years, what would I like to jump on?
Well, one of the things that was on the list to do was to get a community center built. And, you know, we weren't able to get that move as far forward as we had liked to. So that's, I know, one of the priorities coming into this next 4 years is we will find a location and get that under construction. Would have been nice to have gotten Linda Road under construction, but we were able to move that along a lot further than I think many thought we would, to where we are right now. So those are like two very specific things. I think on the larger side is like, what can we do to continue to advance the Meridian business community? You know, we've seen a lot of great things come to our community, but you know, those family wage jobs, how do we continue to advocate for things that are going to provide that full service community? Because really the best way for us to address transportation and everything else in the valley is to get people to not have to drive east-west. Yeah. Is to stay within the community, to have that shorter commute for the job that they want to have. And you know, with healthcare being such a major focus of our economy, you know, I think the Meridian will be the future medical epicenter for the state of Idaho, whether that's what's being done at ICOM, what ISU has in plans. You know, the property that St. Luke's owns in Meridian is large and a lot of stuff can do there. And I think if we start taking those efforts to move that ball forward, that we're going to see some great things in Meridian's future.
We're sitting down with Mayor Robert Simison, the city of Meridian. We do have to take a real quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking more about growth in Meridian, including the great downtown development. Plus, we'll get to know the mayor a little bit more. You're watching Viewpoint.
I have two girls. We've been just trying to build our dream home. We had this really awkward bonus space. I just didn't know what to do with it. California Closets came in and they created something out of nothing. My girls hang out there a lot. While I'm doing my laundry, they're there playing. I love that I have a space now that I can create lasting memories as a family. I'm Jeannie, and this is my life with California Closets.
Visit a showroom or schedule your free consultation today.
After 25 years in business, Dollar Loan Center is thrilled to be open in Idaho. We offer signature loans up to $5,000 in minutes. No application fees or prepayment penalties, and you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out. As a matter of fact, your first week's worth of interest is on us, just for giving DLC a try. We're here to earn your business, Treasure Valley. Find us or apply online at don'tbebroke.com. It's free to apply, and your first loan is on us.
Toyota trains certified technicians. Is that important?
Well, you wouldn't hire just anyone to help you move, would you?
This shortcut saves 2 hours easy. Wait,
dude! No, of course not.
Not again.
Toyota Service Centers. Keep your Toyota a Toyota.
Shopping online for a Purple mattress? We get it. With Purple's unique Gel Flex grid and multiple foam layers, you'll experience effortless sleep that's motion adaptive, temperature balanced, pressure relieving, and ultra supportive. But which Purple mattress is right for you? Come to Denver Mattress and test for yourself. And during Purple's New Year, New You event, save up to $800 on select mattress and adjustable base bundles. Shop Purple at Denver Mattress, the easiest way to find your perfect purple.
Welcome back to Viewpoint. Thanks for joining us here on your Sunday morning. We're continuing our conversation with Meridian Mayor Robert Simison. And all right, we got some of the business out of the way. Let's get to know you a little bit. When you got a free day, maybe a weekend in the city of Meridian, what is your favorite thing to get out there and do with either yourself or with your family?
Well, during the wintertime, it's skiing.
Yep.
I've always been a lifelong skier, and my family is lifelong skiers. In fact, we just got back from a family trip where we were up in Canada. I think I brought some of the snow with us down here, so the resorts can say thank you when they see me. But that's a family activity that we love to get out and do.
And where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Pocatello, outside of Pocatello. So a little bit of mix because it's actually between Pocatello and Ingham in the country, but you're only separated by 8 miles between the two. And so yeah, grew up out there with my mom and brother and sister who moved out. They were both a little bit older than me, so sometimes it felt like I was an only child, and sometimes it felt like my sister was helping me be raised because she was more a little bit older in that regard, but yeah, it's a great experience.
Do you remember, I guess, what your perceptions of Meridian were growing up, or did you even know about Meridian, Idaho?
I did. So my dad lived up in on Artesian Road up in north of Linder. So I would always get off, and really my main impressions were a couple. It was the KFC. He had a bank account at Farmers and Merchants, so we would go there. He was a school teacher, so one of his summer jobs was doing produce at the Meridian Albertsons right there on Cherry Lane. So my impression of Meridian did have a little bit of that. This is where my family came and did things, but it was also where we got off to go to Dad's. When we were going out there for holidays and vacations and summer excursions. So
when you say Meridian is family, I mean that really means something to you on a personal level.
Yeah, it does. Even though they never lived here, this was really where they spent their time and invested it. And yeah, so it's been a great time watching it grow and evolve. Even though I was doing it from a distance, and maybe I'd take a year or two off in between, really experiencing the city.
What is it about Meridian, Idaho that makes you think, I want to be the leader here? I want to make this be the best city it can possibly be?
Yeah, I think it's the people. The people here, you listen to other people when you travel or they're coming here, they just talk about how great the people are, how kind they are, how welcoming they are. And if you start with that premise that we can all coexist in a way, and we are working towards the same goal, which is to be that safe, family-friendly community. And I really believe that's what the residents of Meridian are after. They're looking for a place for their kids to enjoy their sports on the weekends, and they want to make sure that they're safe, when they're moving about the community. And that's what I think really makes Meridian special.
My wife and I got married over the summer, and we had a lot of out-of-town family that had never been to Idaho, and we took them all to Meridian, where we live. And they loved it. We took them to downtown, and they talked about how nice it was, and it was hard to get them to leave. And you understand why so many people want to live in Meridian, but when you have outsiders coming into your town, noting how great it is, I guess you probably aren't surprised, but what do you talk to, visitors about when they are complimenting Meridian? Yeah,
again, I talk about it's just a great, welcoming people. They're hardworking. We have businesses that give back and help promote things. We don't look for the government to solve everything. We've got a faith community that's very strong in Meridian. They really work together and try to, when there's issues that come up, they're the first to help out, and that's what's great about our community. And when you don't have to turn to government to solve all your issues, it tells you the people are the reason why people want to be there.
So Meridian made local headlines, of course. They also made national headlines for the opening of In-N-Out. When In-N-Out was, proposed to come to Idaho and be in Meridian, was that a pretty quick yes for you? Or?
Well, these are the types of things. We didn't actually have a role in saying yes or no because the place where they weren't was already approved for a drive-through. So they came to the area, and what I know is when I started with the city back in 2007, we were getting residents that were reaching out saying, hey, you need to get an In-N-Out. You need to get an In-N-Out. I firmly believe it was a community-based initiative to In-N-Out themselves that made sure that Meridian was on the radar for their 400th store.
And it was like a pretty massive reception. We know all the hype and the buildup, but I mean, I think there were people that were concerned about traffic in the village and management of Eagle Road. It seems that it went pretty well. Did the city, I guess, have any problems?
We were not alerted to any problems, but that goes to the In-N-Out team. They've done this before. They worked well with both the village, with our police, with the local road agencies, just to make sure that they were doing what they could. You saw the signs on Eagle Road that were put up directing people where to go. They had plenty of people that were helping maneuver people through parking lots. And granted, those parking lots, those were dirt spaces that they paved over just for that purpose. So they didn't have to take away parking per se for others that were visiting the village. Now, if the village had been completely built out and those spaces weren't there, it would have been interesting to see how they would have accomplished what they did, but so far we've not heard any issues from the community.
As we have to wrap up, these always fly by, as you and I were joking about in the comments or in the commercial. For you, what does success look like over the next 4 years in the city of Meridian for you?
I think success means that we are continuing to work towards our vision to be premier city in which to live, work, and raise a family. That's really, if we are sticking to that in our mantra and the decisions we make, then I think that we are setting up the next mayor and council and citizens to live in a fabulous community. And I have every confidence in our current city council that we're going to achieve that goal.
It seems that you guys, are off to a hot start. I know it's a new year. There's a lot of big ideas on the table. Before we wrap up, anything for us to track, I guess, over the next few weeks? Big things coming to Meridian.
I don't know that there's anything to track in the next few weeks, but I think that there's just some great accomplishments to say thanks to our business community, whether it's the Roaring Springs expansion, how that's going to impact people coming here, Shill's coming in online in April. We've got Topgolf, we've got In-N-Out. We've got a lot of other great businesses too. So we've got a lot of big names, but encourage people to get out and visit their local businesses who are really making Meridian special, because that's what's really important.
Meridian Mayor Robert Simison joining us here on Viewpoint this week. That's our time, so we will have to go to our final break, but we'll have to have you back again soon because there's a lot more we could talk about.
Absolutely.
Exciting Meridian, Idaho. All right, thank you, Mayor Simison. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Joe.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. All I do is win, win. Everybody hands go up. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind.
The epic sell-off is on now at Furniture Row, and when we say it's epic, we mean epic. Shop today and find everything on sale. That means epic savings on sofas, sectionals, and accent chairs, epic markdowns on dining groups, tables, and bar stools, epic deals on bed sets, dressers, mattresses, and adjustable bases, plus no interest until January 2028. Epic styles, epic selection, all with epic savings. Find them today at Furniture Row.
Were you involved in the disappearance of Michael Vaughn?
No.
Why do police think you were?
I have no idea.
Tonight, a 7 Investigates exclusive interview with Stacy Wandra, a man accused of being involved in the disappearance of Michael Vaughn more than 2 years ago. Stacy agreed to speak with me to, quote, clear his name and provide his side of the story on his whereabouts the night Michael disappeared.
I personally know for a fact they don't have anything against me.
Why he says he's innocent. 7 Investigates, tonight on the news at 10.
KTVB, Idaho's News Channel 7, the station you can trust. Steady, reliable, consistent, award-winning original reporting from a team like no other in Idaho.
I never had a day that I didn't want to go to work.
For 70 years, we followed through on a commitment to excellence, and you can count on us to continue. Then, now, always. We are KTVB, Idaho's News Channel 7.
No matter what, all I do is win, win. Everybody hands go up. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind.
Welcome back to Viewpoint. Well, this week we saw Governor Little's State of the State address right here on News Channel 7. And through his address, we found out his roadmap for Idaho, what he wants to spend your tax dollars on. And our Justin Core, he has a recap of Governor Little's State of the State. Let's take a look.
What we're doing is working.
Governor Brad Little outlined a plan he is calling Idaho Works in his annual State of the State address. One of the first things he talked about was transportation funding. He says he wants to build up previous investments by adding $200 million to improve the last 1/3 of dilapidated bridges in the state. and $50 million to bond for an additional $800 million for other badly needed transportation projects.
Let's prioritize transportation projects that will benefit generations of Idahoans so we can keep Idahoans safe and enjoy more of what we love.
The governor's plan would direct $30 million to water infrastructure, too, and also $6.5 million to battle invasive quagga mussels. Little also wants a new Idaho State Police mission to the border to try to end human trafficking, and $25 million for the construction of a mental health facility for what he calls the dangerously mentally ill. The Idaho Works plan would also put more into the state's 10-year plan to increase the number of doctors in Idaho and keep Medicaid funding where it is without increasing it. To help Idaho teens in crisis and decrease suicide rates, the budget would also double the funding for school advisors.
These are the professionals on the front lines in talking to students about their future as well as their current personal struggles.
In education spending, the governor wants $75 million to fund the Idaho Launch Program, which provides grants to students pursuing in-demand careers. But Little's biggest headline is a proposed $2 billion investment in school facilities over 10 years. That is a good chunk of money, but he believes it will save the state money in the long term by meeting unmet construction needs and improving student achievement.
While other states are digging themselves into record deficits and grabbing another shovel, we can invest $2 billion to modernize and improve school facilities in every district and every corner of the state, while delivering, did I mention $2 billion? I didn't know whether I had. While delivering another $2 billion in property tax relief to Idaho citizens.
Despite all these investments, Governor Little claims his budget bolsters rainy day funds, leaves a surplus in both budgeted years, and spends less money this year than last.
As revenue normalizes from pandemic highs, our Idaho Work Plan continues fiscal prudence so that we're ready for any economic conditions that might come our way.
Justin Core, Idaho's News Channel 7.
Well, I spent a lot of time at the Capitol here this past week, and it is interesting to get a real pulse on what's going on down there. And I can just tell you, we are going to have a lot to dive into here on Viewpoint and on the KTVB newscast over the next about 3 months. I will say that Governor Brad Little, we're expecting to host him here on Viewpoint in the coming weeks. So we will hear more from him coming up. But I will tell you this, the Idaho legislature, it's going to be moving very fast. There's going to be a lot of meat and potato issues that you're going to want to hear about, as well as those social issues that seem to make local and national headlines. I know our team is already diving in to a lot of different ideas that Idaho lawmakers will have. And if you're ever looking for an answer to something, we likely have it on our website, ktvb.com. Just go check out the politics tab. I know all of my colleagues here, they're ready to hit the ground running for the legislature. Well, that's all the time we have. Again, thank you to our guest, Meridian Mayor Robert Simison. We will be back, same place, same time next week. Enjoy yourself, stay warm, and how about that snow?